remember being in my 20s and having an English degree, which helped me out not a lot with finding a job and signing up with a temp agency. I think my mother called it a contact agency, if you want to go that far back. It was an agency that helped you find temporary work. So filing things or inventory or sitting in reception at the front desk and directing inquiries. The contracts could last from a couple days to a couple months to, actually turning into a full-time job. If the company you were working for liked you and you worked out with them, they would then hire you on full-time. Anyhow, the agency, when you first went in, they would have you fill out a bunch of paperwork about your experience and your skills, including typing time? What, typing speed? Typing speed. I had a typing speed. Yes, not keyboarding, typing. That's dating me as well. But they had you fill out all of this paperwork, and one of the questions I remember was, what's your career goal? What's your employment goal? And I always answered retirement. Not to be cheeky, maybe a little bit to be cheeky, but honestly, that's what I wanted out of getting a job. I wanted retirement. I did not, even at that time in my 20s, I wanted to be free of all of that. Hi, I'm Jen. Welcome back to the channel. I make videos about my life and adventures as a 50-something silver and solo pre-retirement Gen Xer. Today's video is my ramblings on pre-retirement and retirement, early retirement, planning, and goals. Could you hit the like button, leave me a comment, and subscribe to the channel because it would really help me out. Thanks. I actually ended up parlaying one of those temp jobs through the contact agency into a somewhat big corporate titled job. And you can hear and learn more about that in my video titled Getting Laid Off at 53, if you like. But I was thinking about the long game with them as well, always. I mean, in my 30s, I really wish that I had heard of such a thing as the FIRE movement, F-I-R-E. That's Financial Independence, Retire Early. I mean, I didn't know about that in my 30s. I don't know if it even existed, but that was really my mindset. I wanted retirement. I didn't want to have to work for my whole life. I mean, I have ended up working for my whole life, but that was never my mindset, never my goal. That brings me to the title of this video. I don't want to waste the youth of my senior years. I mean, I guess I could retire right now and live a small and quiet life. But at 58, I don't want to live a small and quiet life just yet. I want to do all of the things. And I figure I have until I'm about 75 to do all of the things. I don't mean I think that I'm going to die at 75. I mean, I think I want to travel and explore and learn and see things before my mind and my body start telling me, let's have a small, quiet life. I mean, also, I could not live until 75. I don't know. Nobody knows. My parents are still alive. They're in their mid-80s. They're heading out on a cruise around the British Isles. So apparently I have the genes to live past 75, but nothing's guaranteed. And that is why I don't want to waste the youth of my senior years. And that is why I am still working right now, because I want more than a quiet, slow life. I was finally able to buy a home by myself in my 50s, and I had to wait until I was in my 50s to buy it because, well, I'm single, and buying a house on a single income is an expensive proposition. So I have a mortgage that I have to pay on that. And I have a car lease, which I know isn't the greatest financially, but I like to have a working car and I need to have a working car. I live out in the country and having a working car is indispensable. And I don't know anything about cars. So having a leased car, which is always under warranty, is really a comfort zone for me. And so I have to pay the lease, and that is also a fixed expense that I have to pay. So the mortgage payment and the lease payment on my car are my two biggest fixed expenses. And I started kind of thinking about that because I also have an RRSP, which is a registered retirement savings plan. It's a tax deferred savings and investment account, which is available to Canadians. And it's pretty big now, thanks to getting laid off after 22 years with one employer. I made a video about that. There will be a link in the description. Also, in Canada at age 60, you can apply for and start receiving your Canada Pension Plan, or CPP, which every working Canadian pays into on every paycheck. The most you can expect to receive is about $1,400 a month. If you start taking it before age 65, payments will decrease by 7.2% per year. So it's taking quite a hit to start taking your CPP at 60. On the other hand, though, there's a very strong incentive for deferring your CPP benefits past age 65. You'll receive 8.4% more per each year that you delay taking CPP, up to a maximum of 42% more if you take CPP at age 70. So about $1,950. That's pretty big, the difference between $1,400 a month taking it at 65 and $1,950 taking it at 70. If you delay past 70, there's no additional benefit. My plan, and this is a personal choice, and I am not a financial planner, and I am not offering retirement advice or financial planning advice in any way. Please know that this is my personal decision, my personal choice for my personal circumstances right now. I'm going to continue working at my job until I'm 65, possibly longer, if conditions, in the work environment continue this way. And I'm going to defer my CPP until I'm 70. But at age 60, which is next year, I've decided to start melting down one of my RSPs. And that means I'm going to convert it to a retirement income fund and start receiving monthly payouts from it. Yes, I'm going to continue working and also start taking retirement funds from my RSP. It has taken me some very long walks with me, myself, and I to come to the decision that my job is a good one, it's a government one, and sticking around for the government pension is a really good idea. Plus, I like it and I'm good at it. And it's not a toxic, horrible work environment like the one, link in the description, that I had before. So I'm not giving up a lot by continuing to work at my job. In fact, I'm gaining benefits by continuing to work. And that's a good thing. But I still want to take advantage of the youth in my senior years. And I want to do things, and that's going to take some money. Vacation time off to go places and do things is not really going to be a problem. I have 4 weeks of vacation. So that's enough, I think, for one big trip a year. That gives me the opportunity for 15 big trips between the ages of 60 and 75. And that's my goal. That's my plan for retirement for my youthful senior years, is to travel, to go, to learn, to see things, to do things that I've always dreamt about. And I'm talking about Antarctica, the Great Wall of China, a train trip through the Australian outback, an African safari. Big trips. And I want to do them now, while my mind and body are still sound and willing. You may have very different goals in your retirement for your retirement years, or you may not have any at all. It's all cool. But I think that you should have some goals. I think that you should have a plan. And this is what mine is. I had an uncle who was self-employed his entire life, and in his youth, he was a really big traveler. In his later years, he had big plans, but he was waiting on, well, morbidly, waiting on an inheritance from my grandfather in order to launch all of these big plans. When my grandfather passed away, the inheritance was in the form of property, which had to be sold because my uncle had to split it with my mother. The property took some time to sell. It wasn't readily sold. And in the interim, my uncle passed away. He died before the property was sold. He never got the inheritance. And he wasted the entire youth of his senior years waiting for the inheritance. And he didn't do anything. All of his plans came to naught. I also had a friend from childhood, a very good friend, who was independently wealthy through an inheritance. And but he was married to his wife, and she loved her job and wanted to continue working. And so my friend just hung out, played golf, hung out with the guys, and they had big plans after she would retire. And I know that you know where I'm going with this. He died at age 52 and never got to do any of the plans. He wasted his entire, youth of his senior years. Not that he had a lot of senior years since he passed away at 52, but he spent his life waiting for something to happen. And then he was going to follow through with his grand plans, something that he always wanted to do. I don't want to end up like that. These two men that I loved, I was close to, they had all of the grand plans. They had everything figured out, they thought. But in the end, they wasted their lives waiting and never got to do any of it. They were robbed of their life plans, their life goals, because they thought they had all the time in the world to do them. I've been playing the long game with life for decades, and I think that now is the time to wind up that game and declare myself the winner. I'm not going to take the youth of my senior years for granted. I'm taking charge, and I'm going to make things happen. Watch this space.